Hey YouTube, this is going to be on Joey Ryan, as well as Ron Jeremy, and I think I made a video on Ron Jeremy, but I'm not really sure. But this is going to be on Joey Ryan, professional wrestler who's still one of the more entertaining or enjoyable wrestlers who does a comedy performance. Basically, his gimmick is a pervert, more or less. He's very entertaining. He works in the indie promotions. Obviously, WWE is not going to allow for that character to be on their show. But anyways, I want to talk about that in its relation to the metoo lynch mob and cancel culture, and the way that cancel culture is negatively affecting our culture. And ultimately, it's also going to be related to Ron Jeremy, and I have not talked about Joe Ryan, but I think I did Ron Jeremy. But between, just the issues I have with my alcoholism and covering things like the coronavirus, the housing decline, the housing crisis that's on its way, people, supposedly tens of thousands of Americans, possibly by the end of the month, could be without housing. The disease pandemic and the coronavirus, the riots in places across the country, the entire Black Lives Matter issue, the issue with police corruption reviews. I've had a lot to talk about. Coming up election, I've talked about a lot of stuff. Like I said, I drank a lot. I haven't been able to always make the videos I want to make. So I have been doing a lot of stuff. But I don't think I have not talked about Joey Ryan, and I did hear about it, but I did not know that Joey Ryan was in the situation that he was in, or possibly in terms of being accused of things, and he was accused of sexual harassment by various women, supposedly. Now, here's the thing I want to say, first of all, and this goes back to counterculture, or not counterculture, but cancel culture. These people trying to cancel the culture. It's pretty much what it is the counter to the counterculture. This is the same elites that brought you the temperance era. This is the same fucking people that were searching under every bed for communists as well as gay people in the 50s. It's the same fucking people that accused thousands of Americans of being Satanists in the 80s and 90s, and accusing them of committing murders. None of that ever happened. It's a combination of sensationalism and trying to get attention, capitalist media attention whoring, and also trying to shut up people who are different or have diverging beliefs and are weird. And it's an attempt at basically stealing the culture and co-opting the culture to their benefits and to be what they want it to be. And they're trying to attack and condemn sexuality at the same time. And it's an attempt at taking us back to the temperance era. That's exactly what it is. And you're seeing that now with the Supreme Court now not allowing women to have birth control. And again, keep in mind, these are the things that feminists were in part supposed to do. Keep women being able to have or get birth control, or having it be affordable to them, with employers covering it for them. And it was supposed to, or it was intended to do things such as, in Alabama, they made abortion illegal. This was part of what feminism was for. This was the point and purpose of feminists. And of course, they have become about a million other things. Trivial nonsense, various man-shaming, man-bashing, trivial issues, cancel culture, things of that nature, anti-Semitism, window dressing, PC policing people. This is what it has become about, but it was supposed to be about protecting things like abortion rights that are no longer legal in Alabama. Other states want to roll out things. They have totally failed on a number of fronts, and yet they're continuing to collect as much money as ever. And you're seeing what that is for and what it is to do. But again, I just want to say that the Joey Ryan character has little to do, if anything, to do with anything Joey Ryan might have done in real life. He played a character, or played a gimmick. His being a character on TV in the confines of these wrestling matches, where I want to remind you, people are being violent to one another. Men and women are beating each other up. There is bloody matches. People get beat up constantly on these shows. Men and women fight each other. There are people bleeding, and so on and so forth. This is a comedy act. It's a sexual comedy act where he acts like a pervert. Just look up Joey Ryan, you'll get the point. He has a move where he flips people with his dick. I've talked about it before. I think he's entertaining. He's a safe guy to work with. You're probably not going to end up in a hospital or seriously injured if you work with Joey Ryan. It's an easy paycheck that night, really, ultimately. But anyways, the point is, his character does not lead to him doing anything in real life. But I will say this, just like with Joey Ryan, just like with Ron Jeremy to some extent, I find it interesting, and I do find it curious that the guy with that character and who is such an easy target and was a character who sexually harassed people on TV is now all of a suddenly he's a real life sexual deviant. It's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? Now, of course, that doesn't mean he couldn't be or he didn't do it. I'm not saying he didn't. Maybe his desire to do this was the real fuel behind that. But ultimately, I do find it curious, and it's the same thing with Ron Jeremy, a man, by the way, who did this for decades and was considered one of the nicest people in the porn industry to work with, who had lots of female friends in the porn industry, who was highly respected by people in porn. All of a sudden, now we're to believe that he, 3 years, by the way, into the metoo movement, committed a rape 6 years ago of a person, and there was no evidence. She didn't bother to be tested, or she didn't go to the hospital the next day to have DNA taken. Never heard from it again, never heard about it again. And then 6 years later, 3 years into the Me Too movement, she comes forth and says he did this. Why wait 3 years? If you're thinking about porn and Ron Jeremy and what middle America's view of that is, yeah, who am I talking about? There is no middle America, but the point is what used to be middle America, their view of porn is usually not very positive. So you don't think you could sell to a courtroom he did something? Same thing for Joey Ryan. He plays this character on TV. The fact they have lasted this long and went 3 years without anyone saying they did proves to me they're probably innocent. Because you know damn well if they did anything, that would be the first target. That would be the first guy you would go to and say, he did this to me. But they never did. Why? Because they're probably innocent. But saying this is some reason to cancel that kind of wrestling, because that's not acceptable anymore, even if he did do that in real life, it is absurd. If he did it and he didn't, but his actions in real life have nothing to do with the actions of a fictitious TV character, any more than if a serial killer murdered a person. You're not going to say that serial killer did it because he played a TV character, or that no TV character should be able to kill a person anymore. Would you say that? Probably not. So what the fuck is the difference? But again, the fact that it's lasted this damn long before you eventually throw the book at these two dudes who you thought were dirty and sleazy and all this to begin with anyways, but it took you 3 fucking years to say they did. That to me is a proof, if anything, that is a vindication of them, and that's proof of their innocence. Because you waited 3 fucking years into this, after Harvey Weinstein, after the beginning of the Me Too movement, we are now 3 years into this, and you just now got around to them, and I'm supposed to believe this? And if you want to wait until some of this shit probably comes out in Vince McMahon, because I would imagine if anyone has done anything, it would probably be him. Not that I'm saying he did, but just some of the shit that might be said about him alone would be shocking. And goes back to my original point. Where does this end? It's become a witch hunt. It's become a fucking inquisition. It's become a witch hunt against people who you see as having done something. It's no different from the hunting down or the searching for communists in the State Department, the searching for communists in all areas of American life in the 50s and 60s by J. Herbert Hoover and by McCarthy and McCarthyists looking for communists in the John Birch Society. Is no different from that. It's no different from the treatment of many Americans who were Gothic and or LaVeyan Satanists or even neo-pagan, and some of them might have even been normal, ordinary Christians and other people of mainstream religions, but were accused of rape and murder in the damn 80s and 90s. And all this is basically an updated version of that for the modern current era, driven by feminists, because feminists are unfortunately still driving the culture, and that's part of what got Trump elected, because all they do is negative things to the movement, to the left-wing movement. They are a force for negativity in the world and not doing any good, in my opinion. And again, the thing they're being paid for, they couldn't abortion. They could not even keep abortion legal. What good are they actually doing real women? But again, that's the updated version for this feminism, and that guy's a pervert. That's the new updated version of the satanic panic in the 90s for the modern day era, with no proof that these two men at least did anything. And it's an absurd mess. Let's see, where was I? This is an absurd mess, and it's just a chance for them to co-opt the culture. They do this ever so often. If you look at the temperance era, and even prior to that, really the Victorian era, that's what they really want us to be living in, and this is what it is. And it's just an updated version of that. And you can go all the way back to Gamergate, and that was not a one-time thing. But even then, what was the basic thing that happened in Gamergate when they were scamming people out of money? These feminists were, and Anita Sarkeesian collected tens of thousands, possibly even hundreds of thousands of dollars from YouTube fans and donators, feminists who were donating to her, and in collection money through GoFundMe and other things, funding thousands of dollars of funding, and never created the damn videos. She created one or two videos and then never created them because she was being harassed by some trolls on the internet. Like, I don't know what that's like. Like, I haven't been harassed for goddamn over a decade by fucking people on the internet trolling me, threatening my life and everything else. But do I fucking give up? No, I'm still going. I'm still here. And I don't get paid for this fucking shit. She did, and she collected I don't know how much money from other feminist women and never did shit with it. You know, and then they had that other issue with some other feminist who was involved in Gamergate, and you know, she got caught, basically her and some dude got caught trying to steal the damn money from the feminists. Her boyfriend and her they got caught in some kind of scam, and the entire thing was trying to co-opt the video gaming industry and turn it into feminist shit, and they didn't even do that because it was really all about money. And that's all any of this is about, money. It's a sensationalist advertising plot to get you to watch the news and to get people to buy into this Me Too bullshit. And as much as I support the protest against the police in America and the corrupt police officers, I also have to say the same thing about Black Lives Matter. Because what do Me Too and Black Lives Matter have in common? In many cases, the same media outlets that have in the past protected the police and are still trying to distract attention away from what the cops are doing. Those same fucking media outlets, in collusion and coercion with the same corporate American industry, corporate America, that are now still currently working children in sweatshops and minorities, including girls, and probably especially females and girls, for less money than males in sweatshops in third world countries. Those same fucking people are now, who are overpopulated, by the way, because of their lack of access and or ability to have an abortion, or lack of access to an abortion, by the way. But nevertheless, they're working them in sweatshops, and now they're to do what? They're going to put a Me Too sticker on the thing they're making. They're going to put a Black Lives Matter thing. They're going to make a Black Lives Matter shirt for Americans with money in this country, including even poorer Americans who are still having probably more consumer power than the fucking people in those countries that are making it, and their rights are being taken and trampled upon, and they're being treated like dirt. And then those people are having to do that to sell back to Americans in this country, and that's your big rights battle, making minorities and poor women in third world countries work in sweatshops to make your crap in this country because it has a fucking logo or a fist on it or something. That's your big rights movement. Also what? So you can finally bring down the big, terrible Ron Jeremy and his giant, horrible cock. I mean, like, what the fuck? What is the point in this? And again, cancel culture. It's affecting negatively the shit that we see on our TV screen. And how long is it until, goddamn it, someone shoots someone because they say, and shoot someone, and they say they saw it on a TV show, and now you can't shoot anyone on a TV show because remember, we can't do what Joey Ryan does on a TV show anymore because that's perverted. Okay, and this is the same direction because of these fucking cult leaders like Ray Keller, that fucking pompous fucking prick, who, by the way, was literally attacking a woman and questioning her ability to be a mother because she was wearing a certain kind of outfit that he didn't think was appropriate to a wrestling match, and her daughter was in the audience. So he's going to attack her now, and that is literally the definition of sexism, as well as just him once again being a judgmental prick like always. And you have people like Velvet Sky, who literally told him to go fuck himself when he was trying to question whether or not she had a right to do something she thought would make her money sexually on a TV show, when she used to bend over, and she told him, "You don't tell me what to do on a show. That's my decision as a woman. You're not being a feminist. Go fuck yourself." That's basically what she told him. And he tries to bring up networks and what network don't you on there, because that's all this is. It's corporate pandering by a bunch of fucking elitist control freaks who want to go along with the fucking trends, and they want to be a part of something because they're not fucking strong enough or big enough to stand on their own or stand by themselves alone. So they have to go along with the lynch mob, the latest movement, to throw other people in jail and to bring someone else down. Because like Bill Hicks said, you're not good enough to do it by yourself. So you have to fuck up every goddamn thing that everyone else tries to do in this goddamn world. And that's what these people are. The same fucking people that try to accuse Vince Russo of threatening a woman multiple years ago, and he didn't even know the person that was harassing her. He didn't threaten her. He harassed her. It was some idiot on the internet, didn't even know her. This guy who's a dirt sheet writer, one of these people, same thing as paparazzi, same thing as the fucking cretinous creeps that used to follow around Britney Spears trying to get a photo of her snatch every damn week. Same bunch of shit. These fucking idiots, these fucking cretinous ass clowns, calls him up, cusses him out over the phone, will not listen to him, will not provide names, won't show him a fucking picture of the threat. Russo doesn't know who the guy is, doesn't give him any real advice on what he should do or could do, then cusses him out, and then fucking threatens to sue him, okay, and does a number of other things, and got him kicked off fucking podcast one over false information he had given them, and he went around telling everyone the guy didn't like gay people or transgender women. And meanwhile, Vince Russo has transgender women that have worked for him. He has a transgender girl to show on his fucking podcast, and if he got canceled, that would put her out of fucking business doing that podcast on his fucking channel. So much for helping transgender people. Ask feminists how they want to help transgender people, by the way, because they don't. And then he also had a transgender person who came out of the closet in an interview with him on Hunt TV in Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling, where he worked there. So he's worked with 2 transgender women at least that he helped significantly. And this sexist and this guy, perverted guy, used to book bra and penny matches. Oh, that's so bad. That guy that you want to say is a misogynist, he has lots of female friends who work for him in the industry, who work for him on the fucking show now, along with male friends, along with transgender friends, along with gay friends. He's not a fucking homophobe, but that is what these people do. And these Ray Kellers and these Bruce Mitchells, and again, I don't hate him as much, but even someone like a Dave Meltzer, and I don't know why I just don't hate the guy, but Dave Meltzer, Bruce Mitchell, Ray Keller, these cretins, Mike Johnson, who stole email from the guy he accidentally sent to him, and instead of having the balls and being man enough to just ask him, hey man, why don't you just come clean so I don't have to, or even just telling him, look, I got this information now and I'm coming, doesn't contact him, doesn't mention him, nothing, gets the fucking email, runs with it, goes tell the other dirt sheet creeps and the goddamn, hey, I broke the story, and cost him a fucking job at Spike TV. And then says he put Spike out of business, like any major network that's got a multi-million-dollar deal that's with a fucking wrestling company they've had for years is going to kick a fucking show off their TV channel just because some guy was working as a consultant, not even a writer for them, and they didn't tell the company. Like instead of just going to the company and saying, we don't like him, don't have him work for you anymore. And you know what would happen? They would say, okay, and that would be the end of it. They're not going to kick an entire network off. That's fucking stupid. And Dave Meltzer and the rest of these creeps know that. But then you get something like this one cunt that I saw on a fucking interview talking about goddamn 20 fucking years ago, still bitching about he wanted her to wrestle in a fucking mud match. And like, this is this like everything that's wrong with the fucking world. You're this eternal fucking victim, and you're going to attack this fucking dude. And the reason why so many of these fucking people attack him is, one, he's in the wrestling business. He's kind of an easy target again. But two, also, they know he's not a fucking lunatic. Okay, they will not attack certain people like this. Someone like a fucking Jim Cornette, who probably is legitimately crazy. Ryan Satin's not going to fuck with him like this. A fucking Vince McMahon, who has a bit of a temper, they don't go to him like this. They don't bring their shit to him like this, or go up to his ass and get up in his shit like this. No, they do fucking Vince Russo, but Vince Russo most likely isn't going to bash a fucking ball bat over someone's head in the fucking lobby. They know that, so they fucking go after him because he'll take this shit and other people won't, because he is a fucking mature, reasonable adult, unlike them, and he will deal with the shit. Just like I'm sure Joey Ryan is, just like Ron Jeremy I know is, just like I try to be, though I sometimes fail at it. But he will fucking respond with jokes. He will make a video. He will challenge him to a debate. He will argue with him. He will do that like a mature, responsible adult. And these motherfuckers don't know how to deal with that. So they attack him. They threaten him, because that's what these fucking people do, because they're cretinous fucking scumbags and fucking creeps that want to be in control of everyone else and everything else and control what everyone else does, because they think they're better than you. And that's what pisses me off. 8666.